Talk to us about the moment that you felt that everything was falling apart and what helped you keep going in those moments.
You know, when you start your journey of healing, and when you're in it, like the before, it is so real. It's kind of hard to even go back to that time that you know was you, but you feel like such a different person.
Talk to me about your most resilient time in business.
There was a moment where I feel like I got to understand and discover the power of connecting to your purpose.
When you're a business owner, you have to stand out and you have to be okay with standing out, because if you don't, you're not going to succeed. You have to be different, but you have to own the individuality and the uniqueness you bring to the world and why you're here. Welcome to Diary of the Search Queen, the go-to podcast for salon owners ready to ditch the algorithm and get found by their dream clients on Google. I'm Sonja Raymond, aka Sonja the Search Queen, founder of the Search Republic. And after helping salons generate millions in client bookings, I'm here to show you how to create a reliable, low-stress lead flow without living on your phone. Ready to stop chasing and start filling chairs with ease? Let's go. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Diary of the Search Queen. I am joined by my beautiful friend Emma Campbell, who is a go-to purpose-led business coach for visionary founders who are done with doing it all alone and ready to lead like the powerful CEO that they were born to be. She works with ambitious, soulful, big-hearted women who've built successful businesses, but now want to scale with more support, more alignment, and a self-led team they fully trust. With 15 years of experience in psychology, leadership culture, and coaching, Emma helps clients step out of the day-to-day, shift from the operator to the empowered CEO, and build a team and culture that truly reflects their vision. She brings both grounded strategy and spiritual depth and is known for creating a safe, energizing space where leaders feel seen, stretched, and deeply supported. Welcome to the show, Emma. You're an absolutely beautiful human. You honestly, I read people's energy, and you're one chick that the first day I met you, I was like, oh, she's class. She's just beautiful. She's pure. So
Oh,
welcome, darling.
isn't it? Oh, thank you so much. And isn't it so funny when you start to get to that stage of you can just look at a person and you can just know that you need to hang out. Like exactly what I
Absolutely.
said like before this podcast. I was like, Sonja, I
Absolutely.
just know that you and I need to have some hangs.
Bless your beautiful heart. Well, you
Oh,
speak my language, so
oh my
I love
gosh.
all of that. But I think, like, would you
Amazing.
agree, like, the more work that you do on yourself, the more you can actually just spot, the people that are meant to light your soul on fire, because I just don't have time for any of the drama. Do you know what I mean?
100%. Yes. And trying to force your way down the path of what doesn't feel right,
Yeah.
just so glaringly obvious that
Mm.
it's going to require so much energy from you to go down the path that's not meant for
Has
you.
has to
And
be
it
an
just like this
equanimity exchange.
point. Yeah.
Love it. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
spoke to that as well. Right, before we go down too many rabbit holes, I want to take us way back. So tell us, what was your moment where you decide this is what I need to do with my life? Talk to us about the moment that you felt that everything was falling apart and what helped you keep going in those moments.
Oh,
What
just
resilience, like it's all about resilience.
love this question so much. And I think it's like such a beautiful and powerful one because I don't know about you, but you know, when you start your journey of healing, of change, of awakening, whatever you want to call it. And when you're in it, like the before, it is so real and so hard and so heavy and so painful when you're in it. And then you kind of go through this like giant change and curve and transformation. You kind of come out the other side, and it's almost like you're in a new reality. It's kind of hard to even go back to that time that you know was you, but you feel like such a different person to
Mm.
that version of you that was in it. And so it was so interesting to even reflect on that, like
Tell us about that version of you. Tell us, let's
so
go there.
the moment that I feel like is a really, really good one for me to remind myself of like the depths of when my journey was the hardest.
Mm.
Probably when I was in my first proper job, in like management consulting, HR, and my biggest struggle that I've probably had for as far back as I can remember is anxiety. Like intense, crippling, kind of like body shaking, like almost not being able to be in my body, sort of like level anxiety. And I was in a job probably about like 15 years ago where the culture was like built on perfectionism, high achieving, no room for errors, like real hard, kind of masculine, like do, be strong, 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 perform, don't have emotions, get it done, no room for vulnerability. And like, as you might be able to expect in that sort of situation, my nervous system was absolutely freaked out and terrified. And I had always had like kind of, baseline anxiety, like performance anxiety is probably what I would call it. For as far back as I can remember, like when I was little, used to do a lot of like competitive swimming, stuff like that. And it was when I was in this particular job, there was this moment that we were all sitting around. We just had like a normal team meeting. And I went to go pick up the water jug to go pour some water for some people in the room. And my hands were shaking so much that I couldn't even pour the water. And it was like deeply embarrassing and kind of like, uncomfortable that I
Mm.
was even in this moment and that this was showing up for me. And also just like so hard to even be with that. And that was
Mm.
probably like the part that I was like, what the hell do I do here? Because I had no tools. I had zero
Mm.
tools. The only tool that I probably had for like how to like manage my nervous system was go exercise more, and then on the weekends party and drink to try and like
Numb the pain.
100% to like, find that
Escape.
relief, to find that peace because I had no other knowledge of how to get out
Mm.
of that pain. And it was probably like from that place that I almost had no other option but to try and like find something to help me out of it.
And
And
what was it that you had? What was it that you found? I'd love to know like what you did
I,
to heal yourself. Because I
yeah.
love everything
So,
that's healing.
oh my God. So a long journey. And I would say it probably started with the only thing that I knew back then, which was therapy. I still have the same therapist today to what I had back then. And it took me a little while to actually even like, make that decision to go and get a therapist. And I got a recommendation from a friend.
Hmm.
She's like this beautiful kind of like spiritual psychologist. So she was like one of my doorways to like opening into the spiritual world and like my awakening and all of that sort of piece. So it was working with her, which was giant. It was breath work. Meditation was probably like the giant one for me for getting to experience a different part of me that wasn't like the chatty Cathy in my brain.
Hmm. Hmm.
And
Hmm.
actually getting to like taste this tiny little moment of peace and quiet and this like, this just gorgeous little center space within. Are you a meditator?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
do.
thought
And
you were.
I meditate to Joe Dispenza every morning.
Oh, so okay. So
Yes.
Joe Dispenza's advanced
Mm.
meditation retreat in London was a
Did
big
you
part.
do that?
Oh, yeah, that was like, oh my God, so eye-opening for me because that was probably about 5 years ago when my second daughter,
Wow.
and that was giant. Oh my God, we could spend the whole rest of the
I
podcast here.
know. I was about to say, I'm like, we need to save that for a while.
Because he speaks science knowledge as well as he speaks like the woo. He's such a
Hmm.
great bridge between the two worlds. And I feel
Yeah.
like my really skeptical brain needed that back then. Like I needed to understand,
Mm.
like, okay, talk to me about how does the science actually link in with the energetics, the quantum, and he like has all the research and the evidence on his websites and all of that. So that was like my beautiful bridge. The last piece in the healing journey of anxiety was neurofeedback. So I don't know if you've heard of
I know. I
it.
do it with Joe Farkas. You know Joe Farkas, Pure Soul and Wellness. Joe Farkas. I've been doing neurofeedback and kinesiology at the same time. So
Oh,
your body like
amazing.
signals what's going. Yeah. So she's
Yes.
actually one of the healers that I worked with on my healing journey.
Oh my God, I need to check her out. I did my neurofeedback through the Perth Brain Centre.
Oh, yes,
Um,
yes.
and that was giant. So that was probably like the heart or the crux of like anxiety going pretty haywire when I had
Mm.
my second daughter and we were renovating our house, rebuilding. I was living in my father-in-law's house at the time, breastfeeding, hormones, trying to run a business. I don't know, just like it was COVID, all of the different things. And I was like, oh my God, I need to do something. And a girlfriend who was a psychologist mentioned this thing about neurofeedback, and I was like, oh my God, I'm
Yeah.
giving it a crack. That was absolutely incredible. I reckon that like reduced about 80% of just that
Yeah,
ring.
it's wild. Like if you think about it, like because how Joe does it on me is actually puts these for anybody that's listening what neurofeedback is.
Yeah.
It's like they put like cables on your hair. This is
Yes.
what mine was, yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it's like there's music playing, and then Joe would talk to me about certain beliefs that my body is saying, and then it would glitch out then with what my body is communicating. So
Oh
then
my,
she would rewire it with the neurofeedback. So it was just honestly
oh my God.
unbelievable. Power belief, girl.
Oh my God. You need to link her in the
She's
show notes.
unbelievable.
I want to
Yeah,
check her
no,
out as
she's
well.
awesome. She's also mentioned in my book. She's one of the she has there's a lead magnet to her in my book as well. But sweetheart, talk
Oh
to
my
me
God.
about your most resilient time in business
This is
and
like a,
motherhood,
this is,
or all of
yeah.
the above.
This is a perfect question because what I was going to say is that, like, through that journey of healing,
Mm,
awakening, whatever you want to call it, there was a moment where I feel like I got to understand and discover the power of connecting to your purpose and your truth and the work that you are here to do in the world. And so when I was at that HR management consulting job, I was like fortunate enough to be headhunted by this other organization who, like, I'd put the call out to the universe at the time. I was like, I need to go somewhere else. I'm made for more than this. I know that I'm here to do like so much more meaningful work than what I'm doing here with like KPIs and processes and all of that. And it was when I was in that job that I got this beautiful email from this organization that wanted to start a new business, which is all focused around like helping organizations become more purposeful and helping employees find more like meaning and fulfillment in their work. And I was just like, well, that's a little bit lucky, isn't it? Um,
that's just the universe sending
oh,
breadcrumbs your way, but you need to pay attention. And you
right.
just saw that obviously as a calling.
Oh my
Like
God,
I love that you've spoken to that because I just think that do you mind if I just elaborate
100%.
that a bit? Because what I find is that the universe is always trying to show us signs.
Yes.
And sometimes we're so blissfully aware because we're so disconnected, scrolling on social and fucking comparing ourselves to what everybody else is doing and like so focused on everybody else's mission except our own. And when you do that, you miss all of these subtle, unique signs that are relevant to you. And when you start following these nuggets and these breadcrumbs, it leads you on your purpose, like naturally. Would you
Just
agree?
tingles all down the spine while you were talking, 100%. And the
Mm,
really interesting thing is like back then, I wasn't very like open to this whole idea of like the universe having your back or
yeah.
manifestation or any of
Quite
that.
new age though, like
Yeah,
new age, and not
yeah,
many people like back then as well, like even 5 years ago, new age was still very woo woo, whereas like it's so much more normalized, especially since COVID. Everyone's starting to be like, "Wait a minute, I need to question what's happening here, and everybody's starting to, oh, but what does this actually mean? But we are in the dawn of the age of Aquarius, which is a time calling for mass awakening.
100%, 100%. Oh,
Mm.
so many chills.
I know, same. I'm like vibing as well.
So I followed the call. That is
Mm.
the short version to that story. The long version is I sat in indecision for 6 months, being almost torn apart with my head pulling in me in one direction and my heart pulling me in the other. My head telling me to stay safe, do the right thing, stay in the corporate, safe,
Mm.
smart job
Mm.
that will guarantee you a paycheck. And then my heart, like literally, like like leaping out of my chest, pulling me forward to say, go to the new job, go follow the purpose, the fulfillment, all of that sort of thing. So long story short, 6 months later, finally followed the call. It was just the bloody best thing that I had ever done because that's where I I connected with my purpose work. So, and part of my purpose work is helping people find
Mm.
their purpose because I started learning about the fact that there are these organizations, these businesses that exist out there that are driven by a purpose that's bigger than them, that are
Yeah.
driven by a mission, that are driven by a reason to do good, to make an impact, to lead awesome change in the world. And I had
Mm.
never come across these businesses properly before that. I thought that most businesses were just out there to literally like hit their KPIs and get a paycheck. And
Mm.
nothing wrong with all of that, but God, does it feel empty and meaningless if you don't have like the heart and the meaning
Yes.
purpose behind it.
Mm.
And like while I was going through my own struggles, I also had some like family members that were going through some deep, painful mental health and emotional challenges as well. And I just started like learning about the impact that purpose can have on people when they discover why the hell they're here.
Hmm.
When they connect with something that like gives them a sense of meaning for why they are here on this planet, like that
Hmm.
makes them feel like there's something bigger than them, that they've got a reason for being here. And I
Hmm.
can't tell you the feeling, but I'm sure you've had it before of just this like, this spark was ignited within me. And I
Hmm.
was just like, this is the thing that I need to share with people. I need to help people connect with their truth, with their purpose, with their reason for being, to start businesses from that place, to lead, to live from that place. And it was
Hmm.
that purpose, that knowing that reason that then helped me take more action, even though I was struggling still so badly with anxiety in so many ways. It was that knowing that purpose, that mission, that reason that made me get up on stage in front of hundreds of people and help, talk about purpose and leadership. It was that actually helped me start my podcast, that helped me lead these workshops in front of like leaders and organizations, even though I'm like still shaking on the inside while I'm doing it. But it was this like, there was something bigger than me that was pulling me forward that helped me kind of
And
like rise
yeah.
above the fear.
I love that you've spoke to that, Emma, because the reality is, and I speak about this actually in my book, is that as kids and we're all going to school, we're all conditioned to wear a uniform and don't speak out of turn. When you're out of turn, you get reprimanded, you get kicked out of class, you get sent to the principal's office. We're all meant to be conditioned to stay the same. So
Yeah.
anyone that stands out
God.
must be punished.
Yeah.
That's society conditioning. So when you're a business owner, you have to stand out and you have to be okay with standing out because if you don't, you're not going to succeed. You have to be different, but you have to own the individuality and the uniqueness you bring to the world and why you're here
Yeah.
because every soul on this planet has a unique path. They either
Yes.
respond to the calling or they don't, or they in another lifetime have had another soul contract, and this soul contract in this lifetime might be very different. But we are very much, I feel, in my core here to evolve our consciousness and raise the vibration of humanity. That's why we're here. And playing small doesn't serve anybody, nor does it serve society or the masses. And I
Yeah.
think we are at a time that we really need to embrace all our uniqueness and our individuality because that's where the magic lies.
Oh my gosh. And I think this is just so wonderful that you've spoken to this because I think was it yesterday? I think I just recorded a podcast on this exact topic of why we are petrified to share our truth, why there's something that sometimes becomes paralyzed in our bodies when we
Mm.
actually go to share like the deepest truth that's on our hearts. The piece of us that's like, I need to say this, and then it stops in your throat,
Mm.
and where that comes from and why we get locked in a pattern of people pleasing, saying the nice thing, being the nice girl, like exactly as you shared. And
Mm.
so much of it comes from, back in the caveman days of our life and our survival actually depending on whether we are accepted by the tribe and the community that we were part of. And that if
Mm.
we spoke up about our truth that didn't gel with the tribe, with the crew, that they might kick us out. and
Absolutely.
then the saber-toothed tiger's going to get us. So back then, it actually made 100% sense that we would squish. Like from a survival standpoint, it makes sense that we would abandon our truth in order to fit in order to
Mm,
gel, in order to
mm,
like be accepted as part of the group. But I think
mm,
that the learning that is so much easier said than lived is to remember that like we're now in a new day and age where we get to choose the tribe and the community that we're part of. And
mm.
that if we do speak our truth, we're not going to die. Like it's not a matter of life and death, but our nervous system still thinks that. And I
Yes.
think that that's some really important work that all of us can move through. I know that I'm still moving through it, and I can feel it's kind of like growing and evolving every day. But still to this day, I feel the pull to say what feels real and true for me, to speak the thing that's really on my heart, to speak the emotion that might be coming up for me, knowing that it might ruffle someone's feathers, knowing that it might
Mm,
not be the thing that is accepted in this day and
mm.
age. And that can be so big and so scary.
But the way I see it as well on that, Emma, if you ruffle other people's feathers, which you will, and I'm pretty sure I ruffle so many people's feathers where people fucking don't like
Love a
me and
good
I
ruffle.
didn't give a
Yeah.
shit. But the more that we ruffle, like when we ruffle other people's feathers, we need to remember we have to stay in our own energy body and we are going to trigger people because an unresolved trauma and pain. And when we react to that or we get in the ring, you actually rob them of the gift of the mirror of them seeing where they are falling short in so many areas of life because sometimes when we trigger people, there is a gift in the shit for other people and the gift is in the shit. And when you can acknowledge it by a process of self-awareness as the first step, that's where the true magic comes, And I like, not that I love triggering people, I just know I trigger a lot of people, but I think it's very good that I do. I say the things that most people won't say because at the end of the day, somebody's got to say, you know what I mean?
Were you always like that, or has that been a journey for you?
That's the journey for me.
Mm.
It's all in my, I can't wait for you to read my book
Oh
because
my
I think when you read
gosh.
my book, I think you'll learn all about that. But no, that's been a journey of intense healing of trauma, childhood trauma,
Mhm.
generation trauma,
Yeah.
fertility, like all of the things. But what I've learned is the more I try to fit in, the more I didn't fit in. And the
Mm.
more I try to change myself to be liked, the more I fell flat in my arse. So you're better off saying what's on your heart and your truth. And the more that you are closer to the relationship you have with yourself, the more you attract more people that are good for you in your life. Whereas when you don't have that connection to your inner self and you are disassociated with who you really are, people repel you repel people because you give off that energy of insecurity. You are secure in yourself when you love all parts of yourself, the good, the bad, the ugly. And I think when like and the thing is the way I see it as well, like, so many people want to heal the world and have peace on earth and all that, but nobody's willing to do the actual hard work. The hard work starts in our own heart. And that is if we want a better world, well then we have to come back and heal our own parts of our broken heart.
Quick break. If you're a salon owner, sick of posting every day with nothing to show for it, or you're staring at the gaps in the books again next week, well, we can help. So book a free call with my team using the link in the show notes and let's map out a Google strategy that brings in dream clients without the daily hustle. Now, back to the episode.
For me, it just feels so much more achievable as well if we just, each and every one of us are able to focus on our own healing. Like, as opposed to looking out to the entire world, like, how do I fix
Judging.
the world?
On your side of the
How
street,
do I work
not
on
pointing
me?
fingers.
Yeah,
But judgment, again, when people judge you, it's just a reflection on them. So,
yeah,
but I think everybody just needs to stay in their own lane, focus on what
yeah.
they're here to do, stop pointing fingers, take responsibility, take radical responsibility at that matter.
Mhm.
And I think that we would start to see humanity evolve in its consciousness. And I definitely feel like it's happening. And a wonderful time to be alive, witnessing all of that happening right now on the planet.
100%. 100%.
Mm.
Well, I mean, coming back to speaking your truth, the one thing I can really share on that is that I feel like I'm a slow learner on this piece, but god damn, like if I am to reflect on the times that I have spoken my truth, like followed my intuition, spoken the thing that might not be the right thing to say, but that it is what I actually truly wholeheartedly believe, that has always been the thing, always been the thing that has led me down the path of like greatest joy, greatest abundance, greatest fun, greatest fulfillment, greatest friendship, all the F's. And it's the time that we try and follow the shoulds, like the, oh, I think this is the right thing to say. I think this is what I should say here. This is the smart thing. This is the thing that will sound good. That's the
Mm,
time that we squish our ability to be seen. We squish our ability to make an impact. That's when
mm.
just like we limit everything, don't we?
Absolutely. But I also feel that comes back to the relationship you have with yourself. Because if you're so sure on who you are, you never need to change what your beliefs are to try and fit in with the crowd, you know? And I just think that that people pleaser mentality doesn't serve anybody.
Yeah,
And, you know, you owe it to yourself to be true to yourself. And when you follow your intuition, you are never wrong, ever. But when you follow all the
100%.
shoulds of what everybody else tells you what to do, you'll end up in your arse all the time and time again.
100%. Well, like
Yeah.
this story that comes to my mind was like possibly, you know, looking back on it right now, one of the first steps of like the greatest parts of my entire business journey was when I
Mm,
got a phone call from a new client. And so my background's HR. And so
mm,
I was working in coaching, and I would often get called for kind of like HR resolution style issues. And I got a call from a new client, and she was, you know, saying, you know, we've got these issues with my team.
mm-hmm,
You know, people aren't arriving on time, they're taking sick days, blah, 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 blah. And she said, we want to put a whole bunch of policies in place. You know, we need to put some like standards, some policies, some procedures. And everything in my HR training would have said, yeah, great idea. Let's build you a system. Let's put some policies in place, some procedures. We'll whip those employees back into gear, you know?
mm,
And there was like a quieter, intuitive, heart-led voice that came through and said, I actually don't think you need a policy here. I don't think you need a procedure. I think we need to look at like what's actually going on
mm,
underneath the surface that's like actually causing this behavior in the first place. Like what's happening with you? What's happening with your team? Like let's actually look at the culture and like let's just dive a little bit deeper here. And it was me saying to her, I don't think we need any of those systems, processes, and policies. That she said, oh my God, I'm so glad that you said this, because her intuition was leading her down the same path. But she thought she needed to go down the standard systems, procedures, all of that sort of path. And that's not to say there's not a time and a place for that as well. But that was one of the moments, like that client call turned into one of the most, like a 6 year client relationship that has been one of the most expansive, fulfilling, abundant, incredible like relationships of my life. Like these were clients that I ended up going to Joe Dispenza with, like to do the advanced retreat. You know, it was so much more than like a business partnership. And I think
mm,
it's those little moments that you kind of like get to choose between the
mm,
smart business decision and the like, what's my intuition
mm,
towards? And I had no idea where that was going to go in that moment, but there was something
mm,
deeper within me that was like, nah, tell her the truth. She doesn't need a policy. Like, there's something
mm.
more here.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that you shared that. And another thing I want to ask you is like, talk to me about how you do the juggle, the business juggle with kids. Because you have two kids, three kids,
Two kids,
two
two
kids,
kids. Yeah.
Oscar and a daughter.
Oscar and Hazel. Yeah, so Oscar just turned 7 yesterday.
Oh,
Hazel is 4.5.
oh,
And
bless.
how old are your little ones again? They're
Oh,
a little bit.
love. I had three and one. This Willow's one on Saturday, this coming Saturday. And Sage turned three
Oh,
like 2.5 weeks ago.
oh my God. So you're in
Yeah,
the depths.
I am for sure. Yes, I have lots of support around me, so I'm not that crazy.
Amazing.
I show
Amazing.
up for the times that they need me the most. And,
So
you know, I
good.
don't do everything myself because it's not
Yeah.
possible with the lifestyle that we live. And the traditional mom, you know, like that I amn't.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm a high-end business owner with
Yeah.
two small babies, you know, it's not
Yeah.
like your norm normal situation where the husband goes out, comes home, and you're cleaning the house and like I have a cleaner. I
Yeah.
don't do all of that.
Oh my
But I want
God.
to hear about you. Tell me about your how do you do it with the juggle? Tell me.
It's a great question. I always find this a tricky one to answer when you're in it. Like, when it's something that you just like do day in, day out, like how do I actually articulate it?
What's your typical day? Maybe that might be easier. Typical
Yeah.
day.
So
What does that look like?
I guess the one thing that I would say is like the ages that they're at right now is really freaking beautiful. Like it's
Mm.
never been better, and I've never loved motherhood more than right in this moment. And like I've definitely had my moments of probably like, riding the waves of like hormones, post depression, anxiety, like all of the things. But right now
Mm.
it's so bloody beautiful. And I know I'm going to go through like a wave, I'm sure at some point in the future, like teenage years or whatever, where it's going to like really switch and change around. But right now, it's like bloody brilliant. And I guess to paint a little bit of a picture of what it looks like, so I work about 20 hours a week. So Oscar's in like full-time school. Hazel's in kindy and a little bit of daycare. And she just wants to be at school all the time because she's just like just loves school, doesn't want to do daycare anymore. And so I would say like my husband and I really have got like a really good schedule of how we kind of balance out our lives together.
Mm-hmm.
I love because I can be a little bit like ADHD. I haven't been diagnosed or anything, but because I can
That's just a label, and I
be,
think
yes,
like everybody's jumping
100%.
onto this fucking trend, and I'm just like, man, you're not like you're just different, and just own that. Stop
You,
labeling yourself as ADHD.
you get the tendency though, right? Like a brain that just feels like really excitable, kind of
I'm like
overwhelmed.
that all the time, but like I'm like
Yeah.
it's, when you're a business owner, when you're a mom, I think fucking everyone's ADHD. Let's
Oh
be
my
real.
God, right. So for my brain, I feel like I love a structure, like I love a
Mm,
schedule. And so while it might sound really like rigid to a lot of people, I like time block the hell out of my life because
mm,
for me, time blocking is actually freedom and flow. Because when I've got something in my diary and I'll like block in, all right, this is my kid time, this is my work time, this is my exercise time, this is my meditation time. For me, it's freedom because it's like it's me not having to hold those things in my brain. And my husband and I just have like a really beautiful structure and schedule around how many dinners we do a week. We do everything automated and online as much as we possibly can, like all the online ordering. We've got a beautiful house manager, a housekeeper that comes in, and she's just every single week that she comes into the house, I like.
house manager, tell me, because I have an au pair, and she I think that's kind of similar. What does she do? She just comes in and
So
what does she
she's
do?
been like an au pair without the kid bit. So manages like everything to do with the house, like the washing, the
Yeah.
ironing, the
Mm.
cleaning, replacing of things, towels, bed sheets, like whatever you need around the house, like tidying the kids' playroom.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, folding and putting away our clothes, like all of that sort of thing. And she'll come in a couple of times a week. And she's like my little angel. Like I just
I hear you,
honestly
because
feel
I feel
so
I have the same support.
yeah,
It's the best.
it's
Like I
just
have
the
no
best,
pair.
isn't it? Oh,
Well, the thing is, the way I see it, right? I'm already like flat the mat with business,
yeah,
and for me, like the quality time I get with my kids, because
yeah,
that's taking it. Like she does the washing. I get a cleaner. I don't expect her to clean, but she lives in
yeah,
with us,
yeah.
and she's a pediatric nurse, and she literally doesn't even want to leave because she just loves us so much, and she loves my girls so much. But she'll
Oh,
get up with the girls in the morning while I go to the gym. Well, I'll go to the gym, and the girls will
amazing.
be awake by the time I get back.
Yeah.
They this morning they weren't even awake when I got home. And I get magical time with them in the morning, but I don't get them up straight away because I might be in the gym. And then she also cleans up after dinner. My husband does all of the cooking. I've not cooked in 5 years. Like, not that I can't. My
Yeah.
husband just loves to do that.
How good's that?
Um,
What a
he's the
legend. I
best.
love
He's the
that.
best. He does the food shopping.
Oh,
He's like home at 2:30 every day. So he's a very hands-on dad. So it has to work for your family, you know. And like me and Kevin often say, like, there's not many families that get to play with their kids one-on-one for like an hour to an hour and a half every night before they even go to bed. You know, like we get that interrupted. No, we also have a no phone ban around the kids. So they don't see us with the phones because the beliefs in children are formed between the ages of 0 to 7. So if they feel like they're second best to the phone, well, then it's only eroding their self-esteem. And we need to build them up in this era of life, especially 0 to 7. So yeah, that's just a few of my little nuggets.
So good.
So my love, let's wrap this up because I would love to you to just speak to how you help women and where they can actually find you and how, if they'd like to do some more work with you. I'd love for them to know how they can reach out to you and what you provide. Yeah.
So good. So good. Well, the main places I hang out and that I play is on my podcast, which is called the Purposeful CEO podcast. So, you know, I guess it's the place for those really heart-led, empathic leaders who, you know, are here first and foremost to serve and make an impact and do incredible work and, you know, just be of service. And that they, yes, wholeheartedly are here to make incredible money because those two things do get to go together, purpose and profit. Like we get to have both. And the research shows that the most purpose-driven leaders are actually the most profitable ones. So the ones that feel like they've got big dreams and missions on their heart, the way that I love to be able to help them is help them realize how they can start to let go and actually receive support. Because as you and I have just been talking about, I think that can be a really big blocker for so many women out there, particularly business owners who are ambitious, they're driven, and they have probably built a business on being able to do it all, being hyper independent. And like when they go into fear, sometimes they can pull back and just want to like do more and more themselves. And my work is really about like helping them actually receive, allow, embrace, support, how to like empower their team to step up so that they can feel really held and supported by a home team, a family team, friendship team, business team, all of those things, and step into their highest level of leadership so that they can scale the impact of everything that they do. So podcast is a great way to hang out and get a taste of who I am. And then I'm on Instagram pretty regularly. They're probably like the main places. So
I'll pop all of that in the show notes anyway as well. So all of the listeners can go ahead and check you out because you're an absolutely beautiful soul. And it's been honestly just pleasure having you on. And I knew the minute I met you, I was like, oh my God, this chick is beautiful. Love her energy, you know.
Like same at you.
No, stop. I love you more. No, I love you more. Oh, Emma, you're a legend. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. And thank you for being a guest. It's been wonderful having you.
If today's episode spoke to your salon soul, then hit subscribe so you don't miss the next round of strategy and support. For more help filling your books without the burnout, then check the show notes and you'll find a link to the Search Republic, where we build simple Google strategies that actually work. And if we're not already connected, come and say hi to me on the gram at Sonja the Search Queen, and I'd love to hear what landed for you today.